Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a reading challenge 7 books in 7 days, Shorty September edition. I think that these reading challenges are so interesting, and I've been seeing like several of them, like you know, reading 30 books in 30 days or whatever. And I think it's really fantastic. And especially when, I mean, quite often people are obviously reading shorter books or even children's books or whatever. But sometimes people are actually reading like proper sized books a day. And I can't do that. I mean, I read, I think, relatively fast, at least when I'm physically reading, but I cannot read a 250 plus page book in a day. That never happens. So I didn't want to put that pressure on myself also because I'm just in a, life is just busy at the moment. But anyway, I thought it would be fun because I'm doing Shorty September, and I picked out, I think these are all the books I picked out for my September pile of possibility, or the short books on my shelves. And so these are 12 books. I'm not gonna read 12. I'm gonna read 7 for this challenge. But I decided not to pick 7 for the challenge, but just to every day I'm gonna read one book, and every day I'm just gonna choose a book that kind of speaks to me. So I have, so if you want to see all the books I have, and like I didn't really talk about them in detail because I don't usually know a lot about books before I read them. You can check out my September POP video. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do for this challenge. So the plan is to read one book of these a day for the next 7 days. Today is Wednesday. So until next Tuesday, I'm going to read, including next Tuesday, I'm going to read one of these books. That is 7 of these books. And so basically what I'm thinking is that I will just choose a book a day and show you in the video, and then maybe every like maybe let's say Saturday and then Tuesday, I will talk about the books I've read and like recap and do a little review type of thing. So I'm not necessarily gonna talk to you every day. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try this format at least, but I'm very excited. Very excited. So today is Wednesday, like I said, and the book that has been calling to me is actually The Third Man by Graham Greene. This is a book. So Rollo Martins is invited by his school friend hero Harry Lime to post-war Vienna, post-Second World War Vienna, a smashed, dreary city occupied by 4 powers. Everyone has a racket, but Martins learns that Lime was about the worst racketeer who ever made a dirty living. What's more, Lime has just been killed by accident. The truth is almost more than Martins can stand. I do have it as an audiobook, so I'm probably gonna listen to it later today. Let's start with The Third Man by Graham Greene. think I don't know if I said it, but I was thinking that I would update you just like twice in the vlog, but it's Thursday today, and I read The Fallen Idol. Yesterday I read The Third Man by Graham Greene. So I've known about Graham Greene my entire life. My parents had books or have books by him. Don't remember which ones, what they're called. They're in the Icelandic translation. So they've been on the bookshelves at when I was growing up, my entire life. So I've always known about Graham Greene. I don't know too much about him. I don't know that much about Graham Greene as a writer or a person, but yeah. So yesterday, like I said, I read The Third Man, or I listened to it actually as an audiobook, but it was really interesting. It was like a play. So it wasn't like I was trying to read along in the book, but in the book, we follow the point of view of the police. He is like security police officer. I can't remember his name. But in the play, it's more from Mr. Martin's point of view. So Mr. Martin's is Rollo Martins goes to Vienna recently after the Second World War, when Vienna is still occupied by the Allied forces, and to visit his old-time friend Harry Lime, and things happen. It's very spy novel-y, although there is no spying, there's just like criminals, but it's definitely very like post-war Soviet Union spy type of a vibe to this story. And I really enjoyed the play that I listened to. It was not Graham Greene. Kelsey Grammer was the Mr. Martins, and yeah, it was really cool. It reminded me of my teenage years when I was a teenager. I would work during the summer in this fish factory, and we had these huge headsets that were like connected to the sound, or like a system, and you could listen to the radio, different radio stations and stuff like that. And I remember always after lunch, I think every day, but at least some days, there was a radio play on the national radio station. And you would listen to these different radio plays. And so this reminded me of that. Quite nostalgic. I haven't listened to a play for like 30 years. So that was really fun and interesting. And so I really enjoyed The Third Man. For me, it was 5 stars. I mean, maybe at some point I will read the book or the story. It's very short. It is... How long is it? 120 pages. But the play was also really fun, and I got the gist of the story for sure. And then today I decided to read The Fallen Idol so that I can just cross this book off my list and remove it, like I said, from my TBR shelf. And The Fallen Idol is quite short. It is 30 something pages, so it's a short story for sure. And it's really good. It's the point of view of this little boy, Philip, and it's just so... I really enjoy his writing. I mean, he does use the N-word, which was quite jarring. And I'm thinking that so there's the butler and the kind of a maid or housekeeper, and then the little boy. So Mr. Baines and Mrs. Baines. And I wonder if they are black, because I feel that Mr. Baines does mention when he was in Africa. But then again, I don't know, it feels this is definitely early 20th century, so I don't know. maybe I will do some more research into it at some point. But definitely, Mr. Baines uses the N-word, and it's very jarring for me. But the story itself was very interesting, and to read it from the point of view of Philip, who is 7 years old, and the writing is so... Oh, this is really good. This was just very good, really enjoyable. So I'm very happy that I've experienced Mr. Graham Greene. Yeah. Just got home from such a lovely walk. So I'm listening to, or I just finished listening to the audiobook from The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Oh, it's so good. It is just beautiful. The writing, the descriptions, the dialogue between the boy and the old man, the self-talk with the old man with the fish. Oh my God, it was beautiful. And when I started listening to it before I went for my walk, and I was just like, I had to go and walk by the sea and by the harbor and stuff like that because it felt fitting. And I walked around the city for like 2 hours listening to this book because I didn't want to stop listening to it. I wanted to finish it, and it is just, it was like a breath of fresh air, like a deep sigh to read this book. It is so beautiful. So this is an old man who is definitely at the later part of his life, and he's a fisherman, he goes off to fish. He has a beautiful relationship with a young boy who has been fishing with him for years. And it is just, it says here, in a perfectly crafted story which won for Hemingway the Nobel Prize for Literature, is a unique and timeless vision of the beauty and grief of man's challenge to the elements in which he lives. This is just exactly what this is. Like, it was just a pure gem. It was so beautiful. You have to read this book, people, even if you're not into classics, because this is modern classics. So this would, I think it was written in the 40s, late 40s, early 50s. it is so beautiful. It is just, like I said, sigh. It was so nice. And then yesterday I read Claire Keegan's The Forester's Daughter, which is also a short story. I think that it's probably just like 30 pages. This version that I have is 67, but it's very small. Like it's, even with the Hemingway book, it's smaller. And that one is also very small. So it's a very short story, but it's about a woman who marries this man. They have 3 children and there's a dog. And it's just Irish literary fiction to the perfection. That's all I can say. So both of these books, they feel like just the perfect glass of wine or the most expensive, delicious glass of scotch at a very fancy restaurant after a delicious meal. I'm not sure if I necessarily would like to read this type of fiction all the time. I like my kind of fantasy and, Agatha Christie, which is definitely not this, even though she's fantastic, and, other classics. But this is just in a different league. I mean, this was just, it was so nice. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved it so much. Hi. So it is it's a few days later that I'm finishing off this vlog, but I did read 3 more books, 3 more short books, as you would have seen. So The Great Gatsby, Pygmalion, which is like My Fair Lady, and then Breakfast at Tiffany's. And this was, on day 4, this was the 4th book that I read, was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I will say that this was a surprising book to me. I mean, I've heard about The Great Gatsby, but I don't think I've ever seen any of the movie adaptations, so I didn't really know what it was about. So that was really interesting. It wasn't about what I thought it was about. But I will definitely say that it was about obnoxious rich people who think they can get away with everything. But it was also like, I don't know, it was I wouldn't say that it's a love story, but it was maybe a story about obsession, toxic love, really. And I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I actually listened to it mostly on audiobook. Well, I listened to all of it on the audiobook. And it was really well done, good audiobook, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. And then I read Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. And yeah, so this is the play this is a play, and it's based on this is the play that the movie My Fair Lady is based on. Is it also maybe a musical? I'm not sure, but yeah. So this I knew the story about this, and most of it at least. I've seen some movies, like the old movie with that actress in it. I can't remember her name, but yeah. So this was really enjoyable. I really loved it. I thought that the Professor Henry Higgins and the other guy, they were just complete idiots, had no idea about people or women specifically. Eliza, I think, was... I kind of had thought that she was this kind of vessel that they took and then they changed, but she had a lot of agency, and she had was very smart and very kind of took charge, really. So that was fun. That was fun kind of. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. But yeah, this was really fun, and it's really fun to listen to the different accents and everything. So I really enjoyed this one. And then the last book was Breakfast at Tiffany's, which was much darker than I thought it was. I've seen the movie, with this, what's her name? And I'm so bad with names, it's ridiculous. But I've seen the movie, and but maybe I just didn't remember the whole movie, or maybe the movie is different from the book, but it felt different than the movie for sure. It felt much more serious, and Holly is quite a tragic character, I find, actually. And I really felt kind of sorry for her, but I also felt that she was kind of making her own bed type of a thing. But she was obviously abused as a child, and you get kind of her life story kind of here and there. And so she was, her behavior and everything was obviously a trauma response and whatever. But it was really good. The thing that I thought was most tragic was, what happened. Yeah, I don't want to say that because I don't want to spoil the book, but I don't want you to get spoilers. But there were a couple of things there that I thought were very tragic, actually, and definitely more serious than I thought. But yeah, so those are the books that I read in this last section of this challenge. So these were 7 books, 7 stories. There are two in this book here. 7 shorties that I read in these 7 days, and it was such a wonderful, wonderful challenge. I have to say that it got a bit challenging because, My Fair Lady, for example, is 118 pages. Scott is almost 150 pages. So I find that, so it was definitely a challenge reading those books in a day. But I made it through. I did it. I think that I actually discovered, and I kind of knew this going in, that I usually don't read physically more than 50 to or maybe 70 pages max in one day, or at least in one sitting. So I can very easily read. Not eat. I'm not going to eat you. I'm going to read you. I can very easily read a 300 or 400 page book in a day if that's all I'm doing. If I'm not working or doing a lot of other things, and then I would just have like chunks where I read for a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there. But I was, even though part of this was through the weekend, I had other things that I was doing and I was working on the other days, so I couldn't just read. So definitely reading over 100 pages was quite challenging actually, but this was so nice. And if I have to like choose which one is my favorite, there is definitely The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. 100% recommend this book. It is beautiful. So beautiful. Like, whoa. But all of these were just really entertaining and fun. I would say probably Claire Keegan's book was number 2 of my favorites, and then The Third Man by Graham Greene. But all of these books were really fun and really good quality books. So I had an excellent experience with this challenge, for sure. Have you read any of these books? Would you be interested in reading any of these books? Let's have a chat in the comments and let me know if you've read any of those. But I guess that's that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next one. Bye.